This conference will now be recorded.
So from today we will start seeing what is built-in functions. So built-in functions or a standard library functions or predefined function. So usually developer what they do to create any feature, to create something, they create a function while writing their code, and the function will have a logic. It does something whatever the feature needs to be done. But there are few already defined function which is already available created by Python. So those are called built-in function or standard library function, and they are every program has this built-in function. For example, we saw print, right? What it does, it it prints whatever you have given in inside this. It whatever you give here, it just echoes into the output line, right? Where you see the output there, it just copy paste whatever you have given inside it. So this is on one of the built-in function the Python has given us. And we also saw type to see what is the type of the variable whatever you have defined manually, and this is one of the built-in function we have. So every programming language has a built-in function to perform common operation or task which they know the user might need. So without requiring you to write the code from the scratch, the operation is already created by the programming language team. So there are many types of built-in function. We have type conversion, map, sequence, string, and list. It goes as a list. So let's start saying few functions. So now we have already seen print. So let me So this is one main built-in function we have, print. Now let me show the another function called input, which would be very helpful in every program we are going to write part of this course. So input, this function in Python is to get input from the user. It displays a prompt message to the user, waits for them to type and gets it. Okay. So here the prompt message is optional. So when a input function is called, program execution is paused until the user enters the input and presses the enter key. So let's see. So how it is defined is, and whatever you want to give, you have to give in single double quotes or single quotes. Okay. So this is how the input function is written. Let's see an example. So I want one number one from the user. So what I will write is input. So I want to display this message to the user so that the user understand what we are trying to get from them. And then, as I said, this is a prompt message to give tell the user what we are trying to do. And when when the input function is called, the program execution is passed. So until user enters something, give some value and enter and presses the enter key, or he can he need not enter any value, he can just click on the enter key. Until then the execution is stopped. Okay, if I have 10 lines in my code, if there is an input here and when that is processed, the input function prompt message is printed in the output screen, and it waits for the user to enter the value. Okay, once the data is entered, it is captured by the input function, and then Python assigns that value to the variable you have given here. Okay, and input is always, whatever the user enter is always treated as a string. Okay, so the main thing you want to understand with input is display. You have to display prompt message to the user, which is actually optional, but it is always good to give what you want to. You have to. It is good to have a prompt message. Only then the user will understand you are trying to get something, some input from him. Okay, and then the program execution is stopped, and then whatever you are getting from the input is always treated as string. Okay, so now you see whatever I have given here in the input is displayed here. Now I'm going to enter value 10 and click enter. So when you see num1, so this value is now processed and it is saved into this number 1. Okay, now let me, okay. So similarly, I'm going to get input for number 2. Okay, so now I'm going to add these two input, whatever I have given, I have got from the user. Why do I see 10, 20? I was expecting answer to 10 plus 20 is equal to 30. Any idea?
Both are strings.
Okay. So though it is a number, though it is an integer, whenever the input function gets it from the user, it is always in the form of string. Okay? It consider it as a string. So, but now I want to, though I mean it's good. Input is getting some value and giving it as in the form of string, but now my this operation is interrupted, right? I want number. What if in case some user, we want only the number from the user? So there is a way. Okay. Before I show that, I will just show this. Number 1 is integer, right? I'm going to convert it. Number 1 is actually string. I'm going to convert it into integer. Okay. So now you see the single quotes is not there because now it is converted to integer. If you want to convert any value to integer, you just have to give int, and in the open and close bracket you have to pass the variable name or the value. Okay, so now okay, let me convert number 2 also. Okay, converted. Now let me run this again. Okay, okay, even after conversion, why it's not adding for me? Any guesses? Even after converting using the integer int.
Num is string still.
Okay, why it's still string? You have seen here I have converted. and it's also converted. You don't see the single quotes here.
Okay, num1, num2 are converted, but earlier we declared num as string, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
passed. So that also we need to convert.
Okay. So the thing here is the catch is we are converting, but are we saving the conversion? We are telling convert it, but are we saving the num1? So it's kind of an updation, right? We are updating the string to integer, but we are not saving it here. So now let me do it this way. Okay. So num1 is 10. Similarly, num2 is equal to num2 is 20. Now let me got it. So now
Yeah.
you see the string is actually the addition is done over the num1 and num2. So here because I'm converting and I'm saving the conversion into num1. Earlier it was string, it got now updated to integer. Okay. So let me do it from start. Gen1 is equal to, I know I'm going to get number from the user. Okay. So what I'm doing in the input only, I'm converting it. So that I do not want to face any issue. So here I'm just writing the input function and outside that I'm writing the int. So you see there is an open bracket and there is a closed bracket. So here I'm getting input and then I'm converting it. Then I'm saving it into n1. Okay, let's see. And similarly n2. So here I can type in one. Now you see, I just did addition and it worked because I'm already converting the string to integer. Let me show another example. So here, okay. I'm not going to give anything. And until I press I give any value and give enter, the prompt is not going to disappear. I cannot do anything further. And again, um, how does it processes? It just waits for the enter key from the user. Until that, it's not going to go further. So I'm not going to give any value, but I'm just going to give enter. Okay. So here I see error now. Okay, because it wanted some value and I'm not able to because it is converting using the int. So let me remove this int. So again, I'm not going to give any value and I'm just going to give enter. So now I don't see any error because it's not because the int is trying to get a convert a value. The value is not present, so it's throwing you an error. Okay, value error. Now I do not have int here because maybe I wanted to get a string, so I'm not converting it into int. In now you see n1 will be empty. So even if the user doesn't give any value but press enter, the Python is going to process it and save it and going to process the remaining piece of code. Okay. But it waits for the enter key to be given by the user. Similarly, you have converted integer, right? Similarly, you can convert a value to a float also. You just have to give float here and you can convert it. So we have seen two functions, three functions. One is input and integer and we will also see float now. So this is now in the form of string. Let me convert it. Now it's converted to float. Are we clear with input, integer, and float functions? Can I go to the next topic? Guys, please respond. Are we clear
Yes.
with these functions?
Yes.
Okay. Let's now see print end. So I have three print function. One is a hello world and Python rocks and data structure is cool. Here I have, after the comma, I have given end. Okay. Let's see what this end does to your output. I'm saving it. Let me run this. So here you see hello world is printed and this underscore is printed. Then the next line is printed. Then the next line is printed. You see any weird thing with this after giving end? You see any weird in getting the output? A little change in the output?
Yeah, the Python rock should come in the next line, but it merged with the previous line.
Yeah, exactly. So usually whenever you're given a different print, it prints in the next different line, right? But after giving the end, it it didn't go to the different line. It printed along with the first line. So after the first statement, what we give in the end parameter is printed before the second line. And in in Python, in Python actually by inbuilt print is having end is equal to slash n. So how Python works is assume we have slash n. Okay, this is how we have in every statement. By inbuilt, Python will give slash n after writing or after all your statements. Slash n is nothing but new line, next line, right? So every print statement by default has this. Now you're changing it. You know Python is having slash n in inbuilt. It you will not see that, but it happens. So what you're doing, you are trying to change it manually. You're trying to change that end. Let me save this and run. Here now you see. hello world is printed, and after that Python rocks is printed, and the hyphen is printed, and then the next line is printed. So I'm manually changing whatever is there slash n. Here also we have slash n by default. Okay. So let me print this. Okay, what would be the output of these two statements?
So the first and second hello world Python rocks comes in the same line.
No, now see I have updated. I have only A and B.
Okay. So AB. A is not a variable, right? We have not declared it.
We are giving in double quotes. It's a value.
No, it's a string.
Yeah.
Okay, so it will be AB. Okay, there are two, right? So it will be
Yes, yes,
It will
AB.
space.
be AB and next
AB.
line AB.
No, AB in the same line.
Yes,
Okay.
space. Yes, space.
Okay. So let me run this. So AB in the same line. Okay. Let me explain what happens when we had. Let me go to the previous example. So when we had this hello world printed, and instead of next line hyphen got printed, and the next line got printed, right? Both the line. This end is having effect on the next line, right? Instead of going to a new line, it's not going. It's just printing slash hyphen, and the next line is getting printed. Similarly, A is printed, and we are manually changing the new line to B. So B is printed. Now we do not have that new line, right? Which Python does by default because we have modified it. So the next line is also printing here. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just know what's the input function? What does it do? Just briefly, if you can tell me. Sorry, I just joined late.
Input is to get the input from the user. So here, using the input, I am getting a value from the user. Whatever I give here is given as a prompt, and the user can type value. It's then saved into N1. So
Okay, so
now
we have
N1 has a,
90.8 is given by us.
yeah,
Okay.
this is manually entered. This was printed by the system and it is waiting for the input,
Okay.
and it's now saved into N1.
Great. Thank you.
So here guys, what would be the output?
Five. Hello. Next line it will be world. Next line it will be how are you?
Any other answer?
Same.
Okay. So yeah, we got this. I guess I need not explain, you guys know. So now slash n is for new line and slash t is for tab space. Okay. Let me show this. So here you see after hello, it goes to next line and prints world, how are you? Everything is printed in a separate line. And here you see I have not given any space, but I have given slash t, which is nothing but tab. You see the tab space here.
What
Got
does
it?
tab mean? Does it mean like 2 or 3 spaces together?
There is a tab key above the caps key.
Yeah.
So whenever you need tab, that's actually a extra space, two space.
Okay.
But it cannot be just called as a two space whenever
Yes.
maybe while writing in Excel, if you're writing a CSV format file, you have to move everything using tab space. And in Python, while writing a piece of code, you will be using tab. Here I have everything is tab space only. Here this is double tab. Only tab will help you to write I mean 10 lines of code in Python. Later we will see that. So to give a tab space, we are giving /t.
Okay.
Okay. So next we will see range. It's a sequence function, one of the sequence function. Okay. So range is to generate a random number. Okay. It's to generate number from 0 up to whatever you're giving as a stop. Okay. There is also step. So for example, if you give like this, it will generate number from 0 up to stop, but the stop is not included. Okay, not including stop. And when you give range, you give some start value and stop, it is going to generate from the start number. It can be 1 or 2, whatever you give. It now need not be 0. Okay, and then it generates still stop, and the stop is not included. Okay, and there are 3 parameter in the range. Everything is optional. You have to at least give stop. Okay, this is mandatory. And if you want to include start, you can give start. So it will be like the start. So here it is going to start from the start, and it's going to go till stop in, but not including the stop with a specified step. It jumps using the step. Okay, start and step is optional, but stop is required. Okay, let's now see this.
So if we just give a start and not give anything else, will it be an error?
Yeah, because stop is required. Whatever you give, it is considered as a stop. If you're giving only one parameter, it is considered as stop only.
Okay.
So I'm going to write a for function for loop. Actually, I have not covered any loop, so don't get overwhelmed here. But for is nothing but it's going to execute the same piece of code until we are going to tell it stop. So here my range will be useful. Range of 5. So what I'm telling, until 5, do whatever I'm trying to say. So here I'm going to tell print. So it started from 0 and it's going till 4, not including the stop. Okay. Let me do this over VS Code. So range is nothing but to create a sequence of number. Have any idea what will be printed now?
1, 3, 5,
Okay.
7, 9. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And let's see a different one. So here I'm just going to change. Any idea?
Yeah, 10 to 1 in reverse order.
Okay. So it will be like this. It starts from 10 and going to go till 0, but 0 is not included. But we are telling -1 is a step. Okay. And what would be the output of this?
-1,
Mm-hmm.
1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Exactly. Guys, anybody has any doubt in this range function? Okay. So here I want to write a program which will be getting an input from the user, and we have to generate square of all the number till the number the user has given. Okay. Okay. So here the catch is I have saved, I have run, but it's not giving me anything. That is because now it's trying to get an input from the user, but I'm not aware that it's waiting for my input because there is no message given here, right? So I'm not aware. But since I have written this function code, I know that it's waiting for the input. So I'm going to give the input 4. I'm going to press enter. So here for until the range 4, it is going to print square. Okay, so it will be like 0 to 3, it's going to print the square. So 0 square, 1 square, 2 square, and here you see 3 square. So if there is any question in the interview like this, like I get the input from the user, until that number you have to generate square. So this is how you have to use range, and you have to do your piece of work. Let me show that here. Print. So now when I give this, it prints the range itself. So to use it in the print, I have to use it. I have to give star. So it is going to print the output of this range, or I can directly give. Okay, so only in the print I can give, and if I give directly, it is not going to give me an output, proper output. So I have to use star here. Or I can use list. Even list is one of the data type we have not seen yet, but I will just show. We are going to list all the range. Okay, one closing bracket is missing. Okay, So here it is printed in the form of list. That's why you see in the square bracket and everything in the same line, comma separated. And let me show one other example. Print. Here you see an error. Mm, because you cannot, you cannot give float in range. Okay, you cannot use float in the range function. You have to give, you can give minus negative value, but it should be only integer. What would be the output of this range?
-5,
Mhm.
-8,
Right.
-11,
Mm-hmm.
14, -14,
Mm-hmm.
17.
Correct, exactly. So this is the output you will be seeing. The step is -3 and it is going to go till -20. So let me change this to, so here you see no output, right? Because we are asking it to start from 6 and go till 2, but it is actually in the reverse, right? I cannot start from 6 and go to 2 because 6 is greater than 2, and if I have given any minus, if I have given any step like -1, at least it can go in the reverse way. But without this -1 step, it's not going to execute now. It's not going to give any value here. Similarly, for example, if I give, what would be the output here?
Nothing.
Exactly, we are not going to get anything because we are not going to include shop, and shop is 8 and we are starting at 8, so we are not going to print anything. So range function is often used when you need to iterate over a specific range of integer. Example in a for loop, like we have seen in the for loop, we are going to get an input from the user, and we are going to iterate until the range the user has specified to get the square, right? And when you want to generate a sequence of number to work with, so I want, for some purpose, I need a sequence of number starting from 0 to 100. Instead of manually typing 0 to 100, I can use a range function there if I have to generate a sequence of number. Okay. Any doubt with range function? Okay. So now let's see in and not operator. Let me show you an example. X. Okay. So I'm going to type this. I'm just telling X in. I'm using in operator in the list. Some list I have given which has values. It is going to give me a Boolean output. So usually we use in operator in loop, in for loop. So we use it to quickly check if the object exists in the list. okay, to check if particular object is there or not. Similarly, I can not is going to give false because x is not present, and we can combine in with a not operator to check if some object is not present in the list. Okay, so in the above example, if I give not n, it is going to give me true because my goal is if it's not there in the list, then return me true. Tell me yes. Okay. Not in, it's going to give me false. Got it? Usually when you write for loop, you will be always using in. Any
Okay.
doubts, guys, with in and not in?
No doubts.
Okay. So now next we are going to see a random built-in library in Python, and there are lots of function included in the library. So a library is, you can consider it as a folder. For example, okay, so this is my one of the folder, project Python, and here I have a calculator, program, largest number iterator, factorial, upper lower case, replace. Here I have multiple programs written. I can now, if I want this reverse string, I can open this and I can use it. Similarly, this folder is kind of a library in Python. So library will have multiple function. You can make use of all those function, and it will particular library will have a related function. All the related, for example, if the library is about number, it will have all the number function, number related function. So whenever for using print, type, and integer, float, you need not import any library. But if apart from the regular usage function, you're going to do something related to mathematical specific thing, you will be importing the library. You have to tell Python from this library use this function. Okay, for example, I will show that, but before that I want to show you random. So I know that random is a library and it has multiple function. So what I know is it has shuffle and rand integer. These are the two functions we have inside this library, random library. Okay, to make use of this, if I, for example, so I have a list and I wanted to shuffle list. Okay, but here you see a yellow color line underneath, which is telling it couldn't find what shuffle is. Shuffle is not defined. It's telling shuffle is not defined, and it's going to give me a name error. It couldn't understand what is shuffle. Okay, now what I will do, I will import. To use any function inside a library, we are going to import the library. Okay, I'm telling from random, from this library, import shuffle. Now you see the yellow color line has gone. So let me save this and execute. So I have given, so there is no output printed here. Let me print here. Okay. So what I'm doing is I have given a list and I want to shuffle it. I have given shuffle and it's going to mix the order of the number in the list. So it can be any order. There is no specific order. So let me run it again. So now you see if I run the shuffle again, I'm going to see this different order. If you want to change shuffle the number, you can do that. So for this, what we are doing, we are importing a library first, and then we are using from this we are using the function. So there are lots of function. We can use all of them. We can use all the function, but you have to import it. We have to tell Python. So now let me also import randint. Okay, rand integer is it's going to give a random integer. So random integer between 0 to 100. That's what I'm telling the program to do, and it is giving me a random integer. Let me run it again. So here now again you see that it got shuffled in a different order, and then now the random integer is 68. And now we will see some built-in string methods and function related to string. So here there is a little difference with how we are going to do. So always whatever function we have seen, you are going to give the function name, and in open bracket you are going to pass a value, right? Even for print, type, integer, any function. But now the built-in string is method. It's an object method. It's not a function. So objects in Python is usually have some built-in method. It belongs to that particular object, and the methods are nothing but function, but it's inside the object, okay, to perform action or command on the object. We will learn about this much more depth later, but now I cannot explain about object. But the built-in string method, whatever we are going to say, is it's a function inside the object. It can do only on the object, okay. So the only difference is we are going to call like this object dot the method name. Method or function both are same. Method is nothing different from function. When you create a function inside an object, it's called a method. Inside a class, when you create something, you call it as a method, right? So similarly, it will be like this object dot method, and here inside you give the parameter. That would be the only difference the you will see in the way I execute or call it. Okay. Parameters are extra argument. If there is no argument, you can just give it. So this is my string. Now I wanted to show the upper method. So how it will be done is f dot upper. So it is this is to I mean change the case to uppercase, all the case whatever is there inside the string to upper. Okay. Now you see everything is now changed to upper, and similarly so it now changed converted from here. Okay, it converted everything to lower, and we have another function called capitalize. So capitalize means only the start of the sentence is having the upper, the remaining are in the lower. Okay, and we have another called title. So here all the word, each word in the sentence will have capital. Okay, that's how the title work. And we have swap space, swap case. So what it does, it gets this whatever you have given the original value, and then it will swap it upper to lower and lower to upper. Okay. So here you see it will be exact opposite of what you see here. And we have another function called strip, which is to remove the leading and trailing white space character from the string. So for example, here I have, so here now the extra space is removed. For example, your you wanted to get an input from the user, and the input is nothing but the name. So you are writing a print input function, and you are saving the value into a variable. While giving an input, by mistake the user gives extra space and types the input, and even after the name he is giving another space and giving enter. So all those spaces are added to the value, right? For example, so here I'm giving like this, or I'm typing and giving like this and giving enter, maybe by mistake or intentionally, but now you will see name is having this much spaces, white extra spaces, which is actually not part of name, right? So what I do, before I process it, I can strip the leading and trailing spaces. Now you see you will get exact name. So after getting the input, you can strip it. So this is useful in that case. And you can also pass a parameter to strip telling remove that particular specific character. For example, I have this text and I want to remove all the special character which is greater than or less than. So I'm just going to strip the greater than symbol, and if I want to strip both, I can tell what all values I want to strip, I want to remove. If it's repeating, then remove everything. Okay, so now you see hello is given, and I have this text, and here I want to remove the alphabets, these alphabets, so I'm just giving it. So here you see I do not have C, I have only A, B and X, Y, Z. So you will see C. Got it? Okay. So guys, I will end the class here today. We have many other functions and methods to tree. We will cover them tomorrow. For next few classes, we will be seeing this before we go and write our own program.
Okay, thank you.